What is up, everybody? Tony Cotillo, Fox Sports, the Gambler, Heat Ratio Sports. You hear the sigh, you hear the sigh in my voice. It's just because of what is going on with our Philadelphia Eagles, something that I don't really think I expected. So it's kind of taking me off guard here a little bit. Obviously, we do a lot of work fantasy wise for the Gambler. Philly Influencer, Heat Ratio Sports, Heat Ratio Podcast. We're going live tonight, 9:15. We're going to have the quad box out. Join us in where we break down everything with week one. I'll be talking a lot of fantasy stuff as well later on today on the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace on the Gambler. So check that out. But right now, listen, we need to talk about what's going on in Philadelphia. We need to talk about what's going on with our Eagles. All right. We know, listen, Doug had the press conference yesterday. Okay. He really did. And I don't know about you, but I wasn't feeling it too much. Right. I wasn't. It's not exactly what I really wanted to hear. And that's what I say all the time. I'm looking for, I'm looking for reassurance. And I have to ask you guys, the biggest thing I have to ask is what is going on with Deshaun Jackson? That's what I have to ask. I have to figure out right now what's going on. We talk about load management. Are we talking about load management? Eagles load management? I mean, haven't we seen this enough already when it comes to this Philadelphia 76ers? And now we're going to have to deal with this with the Eagles. Listen, if Deshaun Jackson can't play a full season, right? Listen, if Deshaun Jackson cannot play a full season, then guess what? You should have definitely, we talked about this on the show before. If he can't play a full season, then why on God's earth did you have a receiving core where, number one, you have Deshaun Jackson, who can't play a full season. You have Alshon Jeffrey, who can't get off the PUP list. And you have J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who we know can't play. So, again, this goes again to Howie Roseman and the management. That press conference yesterday, it just completely demoralized me, especially when you start talking about Deshaun Jackson. 54% of the snaps, I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on. I don't get it. Now, the other problem we have is the Carson Wentz problem a little bit, right? Is there a Carson Wentz problem? Are we overreacting? Listen, we have told so many times in Philadelphia that we overreact, right? Here's the problem, though. I went back and I watched it over again. I did. I watched it over again. And then what I did was I went back and I looked at games from last year. And I seen the same thing. The same exact thing. Nothing's changed. Nothing. We cannot have our quarterback taking hits. We cannot have our quarterback not feeling pressure. We cannot have our quarterback missing on throws, especially in an offense that's geared toward him as being the number one guy. That is a complete issue to me. And this needs to change. I don't know how it changes. I don't. I still feel as though if we had that number one receiver here, if we had that number one guy, I think it would be different. But, we have to look ahead now. We do. And the problem is when we look ahead, the offensive line is what's really scaring me right now. It is between Carson Wentz and the offensive line. We need to figure out, is Miles Sanders going to play? Right? We don't know. Listen, we thought they downplayed the injury for 2 weeks. Right? They downplayed. Listen, did anybody know that Lane Johnson had ankle surgery in August to clean up his ankle? I didn't know that. I cover the team. Right? I look at everything. I read every report possible. I never seen that come out. I don't know where. Maybe I just completely missed it because, listen, I'll be honest with you, virtual school is kicking my ass right now, okay, which is why this stream's a little late today. But, at the end of the day, that slipped by everybody, and I'm not sure where that came from. But that's a very, very crucial injury, especially when you already lost half of your offensive line. So we have to know what this line's going to look like going into next week. If Lane Johnson doesn't play, you've already lost this. Listen, Jack Driscoll to me is not a loss. But if you're going to have Jordan Mailata playing the right tackle position next week, or I should say this week, because obviously we're already in that mode. I'll tell you what, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not. That line looked horrific to me. It really did. And no matter what, the way it just broke down to me, the way it broke down, it was not good. And now we're going to play the Rams, right? Now we're going to go play the Rams. So, what does that tell you? Are we going to be able to stop Aaron Donald? Are we really looking at? Listen, I'm deeply concerned. I don't know about anybody else, but I am deeply concerned when we're talking about this week. I mean, Aaron Donald on a defensive line offensive line in Dallas, who I thought was a lot better than they proved to be on Sunday night. Now we have to look at that, and we have Jalen Ramsey that we're going to go against. Who's beating Jalen Ramsey? I mean, do you automatically assume that Jalen Reagor is all of a sudden going to be a superstar? Listen, he showed speed. He did. But again, you have speed and don't know how to use it, and you don't have a possession guy to take heat off the speed. How are you going to have it work? And listen, Zach Ertz, he needs to be better. I'm sorry, he needs to be better. He needs to be better. That catch, you can say what you want. That was alligator armed all day long. I seen it, I watched it, I replayed it. It is what it is. Dallas Goedert is the real deal. Dallas Goedert absolutely is the real deal. The problem is you had no running game. You had an offensive line towards the end of the game that was getting blown up. You had to keep them tight ends to block as much as possible. And again, we talked about this on the show yesterday where we didn't sign another running back, right? We didn't sign another running back. So we have no depth when it comes to the running back position. So that is another issue that I think we need to really digest and look at. The other thing is on the defensive line, right? Is Hargrove going to play? Are we going to have a rush? Is Brandon Graham? This sounds like Vinny Curry's injury is more serious. Vinny Curry was a depth guy. Wasn't worried about Vinny Curry. Is Derek Barnett going to play? We have so many questions on this team. But I don't know if you watched the Dallas and the Rams game, it wasn't a great game, right? It wasn't a game that blew you away. The Rams did not come in and blow the doors off. But what the Rams did do is they were able to get the Dak Prescott. They were able to get into the backfield, which made everybody stumble, which made the cadence go off, and which made the rush go off. So I like this. Well, check it. Eagles need a 6-game season in order to revamp and retool. Yes, but here's the thing: they had they had the ability to do this already, right? They had the ability to do this already. They decided not to do it, right? They decided not to do it. They decided against. Excuse me. They decided not to bring in another wide receiver. They decided not to have any offensive line depth, right? This is what they decided to do. And now we're stuck with this. We're absolutely stuck with it. There's nothing we can do right now. We are stuck with what we have. And I'll tell you, I'm concerned going into this week. I really am. I'm concerned going into this week. And what do you guys think about Carson Wentz? I mean, are you guys worried about Carson? Is Carson going to be able to shake this off? Is he? I mean, that's one of the biggest issues going into. So, listen, Doug Peterson is who he is. We always know Doug was good when he plays. Nick checks in. What's up, Nick? Doug was good when the plays were scripted. It was bad when he had to come up on plays. He got outcoached. Simple as that. He got outcoached, right? It was simple as that. He got outcoached by two veterans, right? And I said this yesterday. The NFC East landscape has changed, right? It has changed. And now we don't have a guy like Jay Gruden or Jason Garrett to beat up on. We just don't. The Rams D-line completely took away time. Yeah, Andre, exactly. That's exactly what I just said a couple minutes ago. Absolutely major concern this week. Aaron Donald is giving me nightmares right now. He's giving me nightmares going in to week 2. I mean, Carson Wentz, listen, oh my God, I just can't imagine what this line is going to look like. And they better really get their shit together when it comes to facing these Rams. I'm gonna tell you what, because you would say what you want about Jalen Ramsey, but he's gonna lock down anybody he plays up against this week. Okay, whether he's up against Jalen Reagor, there's nobody else. Right? There's nobody. They might even put him on Zach Ertz. I don't know. But Carson's going to need to find something to do with the ball. So, listen, there's a couple plays, in my opinion, that just do not work. And Doug needs to take them out of the script right now before he gets his quarterback killed. I'm telling you. Like I said, we need to plan plays. Exactly. 2 3-step drops, right? 2 3-step drops. Aaron Donald, Aaron Donald is a man amongst boys. Yeah, I mean, 2 to 3 guys at once. Crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. That the strength of Aaron Donald was on display in a national spotlight on Sunday Night Football, and he did not disappoint. He definitely did not disappoint. So you can only be in contention or win for so many key pieces. Again, we've talked about this, right? We've talked about the fact that we have not drafted well. We have not made good signings when it comes to the offseason. We have not taken care of this roster depth. It's coming back to haunt us. It really is. And again, it's scary, man. It's concerning. Alan, what's up, buddy? Checking it. Ain't going to be pretty against the Rams defensive line. Absolutely. We know that. It's scary. I'm having nightmares already. Andre, we need the hungry dogs to run faster this week. Listen, Andre Kelce was a big disappointment to me in week 1, my man. Jason Kelce, I know there was a couple of reports that, he had the sniffles, right? The sniffles. He actually had 2 COVID tests. They did give him the test to make sure that he was okay to go. I don't know if he was under the weather or not, but he did not play well at all. One thing you need, especially when you have, a brand new right guard in there and a brand new right tackle, you need that center to be able to pull and to be able to call that cadence and pull that line together. And I do not think he did that at all. I don't. I'm not putting this all on Jason Kelce, but again, let's remember, I've said this before about Jason. You have to remember, this is a guy who the last 2 years has considered retirement. He's pondered walking away from the game. So at times you have to wonder, how much does he have left? I love Jason Kelce. I think he's a fantastic center, one of the top centers in the league at one time, still in that top 10 role. But what I have to say is I am very scared when it comes to his commitment, in the sense that, listen, he just may not be all there. It's human. It's a human element. Every single one of us checking in right now, we have a job, right? We have a day job, a night job, a mid-shift job, whatever it is. And there's times when we're not feeling it. We're not going to give our best effort. And it's not because we don't want to. It's just indirectly, you're not feeling what you do. You're not passionate about what you do. It's just a job, right? And when it becomes just a job, you're not going to get the ROI, which you're not going to get the return on investment when you're talking about your owner or your employer or the employee, right? So you're just not going to get it. And that may be what's happening to Jason Kelce. I'm sorry. It just may be. I know about that. Again, coach staff knows that. Make the adjustment. Stop with the passive-aggressive coaching crap. Andre, absolutely. Come on. Listen, it worked, right? It was a game of chess. This ain't checkers. This is chess, right? And it was a game of checkers, and we were winning. We were winning 17-0. That was our move. And Jack Del Rio punked Doug Peterson, punched him right in the mouth, and Doug had no answer for it. Zero. He took his foot off the gas. He completely misjudged exactly what they were doing on defense. They could not stop him up front. And again, Andre, again, the passive aggressive stuff, you're right. Where are the 3-step drops? Where are the dropping outs? Where are they? You have 2 tight ends, right? This is what's killing me. And tell me if anybody else sees this, and maybe I'm wrong. Help me out here. But what's killing me is, I understand you have 2 dynamic tight ends. You have 2 tight ends that can bust coverage in the flat. Bust coverage up the seam all day long. I understand that. But when your quarterback's getting killed, when you have 0 running game, when you have 0 offensive line, you need to start leaving them in and taking that little 5-yard flat, taking that slant across the middle to take the pressure off your quarterback. Stop with the 5-step drops. Stop with the shotgun, okay? Listen, it's okay if you want to do the shotgun because you want to give your quarterback that extra few steps. That's fine. But get the friggin' ball out. Right? Where is the 5-yard skinny post? Where is the 5-yard flat? Where was the screen pass? Did we have any attempt at any kind of screen game whatsoever? I don't understand what happened. I don't know if Doug played scary. He just got punked and didn't know what to do. But he definitely was off his game. And it showed up. There was a lot of screw up pieces, Mike. So you already can't put exactly. I mean, it falls on everybody. But I still think that the onus of this falls on Doug. I do. I'm sorry. We can say what we want, but this is the same personnel Doug has had. We don't have a tremendous turnover in personnel. We don't. And again, this falls on equal, I should say. This falls on management with Howie Roseman and equal with Doug Peterson. It does. And listen, Doug is a quarterback. Here's what I want to say, too. And Doug is not listen, Doug stunk. Say what you want. He wasn't a good quarterback. He was in the league. He was who he was, right? Well, nobody was blasting the doors down for Doug Peterson to be their starting quarterback. Trust me, we all know that. Excuse me. But what I will say is, Doug Peterson does know the game, right? He knows the game. So if he knows the game that well, and if he was a quarterback, how are you standing up in a press conference saying, I don't know how to fix Carson Wentz? How are you saying the same thing, the same propaganda you've been preaching over the last 3 years? You know what the issue is, right? You know what the issue is with Carson Wentz. We all know. Listen, we all know what the issue is. Why do we continue to not fix him? I don't get it. We all agreed that we can't fix him not feeling the pressure. I get that. But getting rid of the ball, come on, man. This is something that you ought to already know. This is Bush League stuff, man. It is. It's Bush League stuff, and it really, really needs to stop. Roseman drafts suck. We know that, Nick. Absolutely. Howie Roseman needs to stick the money, not picking players. Being man me for all women is tough when I have the stiffles. Listen to Mike try to add the comedy in the show. I like it. Plus, Scott never picked. Listen, I was one to say, be careful with Boston Scott. Right? Boston Scott, everybody was so excited, right? So excited. Oh, it's okay. We got Boston Scott. Listen, do yourself a favor, okay? And this is no disrespect to anybody, but separate fantasy versus reality. Just do that for me. Fantasy is that Boston Scott is going to catch all these balls. Boston Scott is going to be electric because he had one game where he was a starter and nobody knew what to do, and he had over 100 yards and total purpose points. Listen, doesn't matter. He cannot be an every down back in this league. He's not a good backup. He is a third down back who gets a role. That's it. He should not get the ball more than 5 times a game. You hear me? Seriously. Boston Scott. If Boston Scott is getting the ball more than 5 times a game, you are in trouble. Okay? You are absolutely in trouble. Andre checks in. Don's going to disrupt any 5 seconds. Oh, man. Listen. You said it, Andre. I mean, I'm telling you, I hope that Doug. Remember Andy Reid? You hear the story about Andy Reid used to actually, had the blow up bed, inside the NovaCare in his office. He never left. This is one of the reasons why, rest in peace. I know his son went through some issues and they had some family problems because he was never home. Well, unfortunately, Doug needs to do that this week. Doug better be living inside his office. Okay, he really should. He better be living inside that film room and figuring out how we are not going to get Carson Wentz killed. Because I'll tell you what, if there's going to be an issue where Carson Wentz just get him out. Okay, just get him out. Because I do not want to see this guy get killed again. I don't. And unless he comes up with a plan, it's going to be scary. What's up, Brian? Checking in. Let's be real. All the coaching play issues we've seen before at different times. Yes. Brian, that's my issue. Nothing's changing. I feel like we have seen this year in and year out. Right? We continue to see the same thing with no adjustments. We continue to see the same thing with no difference. I don't understand. I don't get it. And listen, it is so lazy for the mentality. And I listen, I understand Twitter is Twitter, right? But Eagles Twitter has to stop with trying to make excuses. We have to stop saying that the reason why is because it was an abbreviated offseason. They didn't have time to practice. They had injuries. Do me a favor, man. Seriously. Will you look around the freaking NFL? Look at the NFL. Look at someone. Listen, did the Pittsburgh Steelers have time to practice? Did they have time to practice? Did the Green Bay Packers have time to practice? Did the Minnesota Vikings have time? Last time I checked, Minnesota threw up 34 points with a rookie wide receiver, and they got rid of their number one. Last time I checked, and they didn't have any issues, right? They didn't have their defense sucked. But I'm not talking about that. How about the Jacksonville Jaguars? The Jacksonville Jaguars look better than the Philadelphia Eagles. That's an issue. If you don't see that, and they had the same offseason, people. So stop saying this is because we didn't have time to work together. I'm so tired of hearing that excuse. That has nothing to do with anything. We had the same amount of prep time as every other team in the league, and it's not working. It's really not. Andre, 100%. Clement, greater than Scott. Don't get it unless, listen, maybe it's a low management. Doug's starting a low management. We're all, we got to save Deshaun. Let's save Deshaun for the end. Does anybody understand that? So we're going to save Deshaun. What are we saving Deshaun for? It's a 16-game season. Seriously, Doug? Come on, let's think about this, brother. Let's think about this for a second. So we're already down 0-1 to Washington in the NFC East. That's going to be very, very competitive. You couldn't afford to lose that game. I'm sorry. That's a game you don't lose. What's up, Trevor? We got to be accountable. Absolutely. The Bears listen, Mitch Trubisky looked pretty good. I hate to say it. He really did. Molly, scary. What's up, Mal? Alan checking in. Washington has the same offseason. Exactly. Stop. Alan, 100%, it makes me nuts every time I see people try to make excuses for this team. And again, can we also say one thing? Just because we are critical of our sports team does not mean we're not a fan. Can we stop with all that shit? Seriously, because, because Tony comes out and he questions Carson Wentz, all of a sudden he's not an Eagles fan, right? Because Andre comes out and says, maybe Jason Peters can't play. All of a sudden he's not an Eagles fan. No, we are the most educated fan base in America, people. That's what we are. We look at things realistically. We watch game film. We do. I know half these people right now watching this stream have gone back and looked at plays and tried to pick out certain parts of the game that they think need to be adjusted. Okay, not everybody does that. So yes, we are entitled to our opinions. That does not mean we have to turn our fan card in, right? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that we want to win even more. We are very passionate. Do not mistake that passion, please. Molly checks in. That was an absurd Molly, 100% completely ridiculous. Okay, and this just goes, let's be honest, this goes exactly with what Doug says. This is Doug Peterson's MO. Say what you want, but this is 100% Doug Peterson's MO. This is what he does. Okay, I know he won a Super Bowl. I get it. I understand, but come on, man. This is Doug being Doug. He doesn't always make sense. That's what kills me about Doug. Andre checking in. Let's remember it's the Eagles, so we may put up a 30 spot on the Rams. Andre, you are so damn right, man. When we least expect it, right? We're sitting here talking. Carson Wentz probably going to come out and throw 4 touchdowns. Aaron Donald's probably going to get handled by Salamalu, right? I mean, it's just, listen, 2020. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? We could have a tsunami tomorrow, and then, look what happened in Denver. Was it last week? Denver had a 64-degree temperature drop. It was 94 degrees on a Tuesday, and Wednesday it was 30 degrees, and they had 12 inches of snow. Absolutely ridiculous. So anything can happen in this 2020. Trevor, as someone in high stock in the Bears, I believe in Mitch. Trevor, I got to stop the press right here, bro. I do. This is. I love you, man. I do. But I'm not putting more stock in Mitch Trubisky than Carson Wentz, man. I'm not. Listen, I know Carson has things to work on, but I'll tell you right now, if I have a 2-minute drive, I need to win the game, you tell me you're taking Mitch over Carson, ain't no friggin' way, man. Not yet. I'm not ready for that discussion yet, Trevor. Not ready for it. We can't have that. I am not bailing on my man Wentz right now. He has stuff to work towards. He'll get it right. He will. But again, you can't put it all on Carson. You just can't put it all on Carson. Sato, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Checking in, as always. Appreciate it. Lot of love. Molly, what happened to our new normal? Yeah. Remember, Doug, this is the new normal. We won a Super Bowl. This is the new normal. Yeah, well, guess what? Yeah, now everybody's learning how hard it is to win in the NFL, right? Oh, man. Stephen A. just tuned in with a hot take like that. What did he say, Molly? What did he say? Just tune in with the I like that. Oh, you're talking about Trevor. You're calling Trevor Stephen. Yeah, I don't get that. Trevor, you got to explain yourself, bro. I know you're working and all, but come on, you got to come back. You got to come back with that a little more, man. You got to put a little more. Sean, what's up? Yeah, you got to put it. Listen. Oh, here he comes. A comment's coming in now. I'm not bailing on Carson, but he needs to be better. Yeah, listen. A new normal. Hey, what a drop. Listen, I get it. You're right. I'm not, but to say that you have more stock in Mitch than Carson, I can't start that conversation. I just can't. Listen, it is still only week one. We do have to relax, like our discount double check man, Aaron Rodgers once said. But what I do have to say is I just have to look at how this offensive line is going to work next week. That's all. I really do. And in other news, right, we still Sean will be on Sato's Cornhole Thursday. Oh, that's right. You're the cornhole guy, right? I think you're with Big Mikey Smalls. You know the co-host, right? So I know he's a big cornhole guy. Listen, we're going to be going again for everybody listening. Don't forget tonight live 9:15 p.m. Heat Ratio episode 127 Quad Box up, breaking down week one, breaking down week two, getting everything. Molly Dalton hated that statement when it was made. You just don't say that stuff. Brian checking in as always. Listen, there's no factual basis behind a statement like that. Listen, Trevor's got some strong opinions. One thing I will say, I will never get mad for people who have strong opinions. Just do me a favor and back that shit up, right? Back that shit up. I labeled my show the Heat Ratio specifically because I want people to be able to back their shit up. You want to bring the heat, bring it. Don't back down. That's one thing. Listen, I got the name Jigsaw for a reason. My man Sean gave me that name for a reason because what he said was even though my taste can be absolutely ridiculous at times, one thing's for sure, I don't back down. I will stick with them no matter what. I know it's week one, but Mitch has no contract, so he's going to play. Listen, Trevor, I get it. He may play his ass off, but that doesn't mean that his ability is going to dictate what he does on the field. I still think his ability is way less than what Carson Wentz is obviously. So I'm still not ready to make that assessment. ACL Pro American Cornhole League, sweet man. I'll tell you what. The cornhole stuff to me is really catching on. It really is. Let me get to that in a second. Hold on. Say though, we lose week 2. What is the over and under? Doug said we gotta be better. I don't know. It's Doug. We got to get better, and it's Andy. I got to put guys in positions to make plays. It's like we have the same guy. They're both freaking robots. What do you think of the Browns' first game? Listen, I'll talk about that real fast because we're gonna break down the Browns tonight. We're gonna break down all the games tonight at 9:15. But I will say this, I was not expecting them to come out and throw a dud like that at all. I don't. I thought that they would be a little more prepared, and they weren't. So the Browns, we're going to get into that breakdown tonight, so tune in if you can. There were certain things I seen that I liked and certain things that I didn't. There's some scary stuff coming up, man. Some scary stuff coming up when you talk about your fantasy lineups, when you talk about your week 2 projections already. The numbers are out. So we're going to get into all of that tonight. Today, though, on Jigsaw's Judgment, this is just looking at I'm going with the over. We're just looking at basically what we could do to change things going forward, how everybody's feeling, what they think, and let's just say this, right? If we look at the schedule, and right now, again, the Rams are going. You have the Giants who play the Bears. You have the Falcons who play the Cowboys. You have the Washington football team that plays the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if you look at the NFC East. I will take Arizona all day over Washington. I will take the Giants over the Bears. I will. I'm telling you, I like what Daniel Jones is doing. I know he's going to make mistakes, and I know Saquon didn't have as many yards as everybody thought, but he was out there in the flat. So they're working through that. I'm not a big Bears fan. I still think there's a dumpster fire out there. No matter what, they should. No matter what happens, in Chicago with Mitchell Trubisky, I just don't think that I'm fully prepared to jump on that wagon at all. The Falcons are a fantasy team. Once again, they're going to throw. That's going to be an interesting one. The Cowboys could face an 0-2 start. They really could. The Cowboys could face an 0-2 start because, listen, the Falcons, they put up some major yardage numbers. 450 yards is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Have me on your show for cornhole. Listen, I guarantee if we talk to Big Mikey Smalls, he'd be all about that. I am not. Listen. We are creating a network here. I will say this again. This is the Heat Ratio podcast, but if you see Heat Ratio Sports is the network. If anybody is looking and they want to do a podcast on their own, I can get you set up. I can give you the platform and you can build it. But we're also going to be all doing different shows as well on this network. And cornhole is something that we are looking at. I can guarantee you that. So we are going to look at that, man. I'm telling you, it is coming. Or you can listen to his Upper Bowl podcast we talked about week 1. Yeah, that is true. Look at my man. And I was a guest on that podcast. I retweeted it out. Again, I think it might have been like 2:30 a.m. So I might have to go back and do that. But that's because Jigsaw never sleeps. But because there's always something to do in the grind, man. But check it out. It was a really good show. I enjoyed being on there for a half hour. Week 2 matchups are very good this week. Julio Jones can't wait. Exactly. Listen, Matt Ryan, 54 throws, 54 attempts. You think that's not going to go up? I mean, listen, and for all you people out there, and I'm not the I told you so guy, but everybody, I know it's only week 1, but listen, I cannot wait. You know what I'm going to do? I cannot wait. I'm going to make a video up, right? And I'm going to cut. And I'll do both ends, right? I'm going to do the takes where I was wrong and the takes I was right, okay? And one of them was Calvin Ridley. Everybody told me Calvin Ridley won't get enough play. Come on, man. Calvin Ridley, have you seen him? He is electric, man. Absolutely electric. And when you talk about Atlanta throwing the ball 50 times a game, Calvin Ridley can't get 10 targets. Calvin Ridley is the truth, man. You watch that. Nick Checkers, do you think Houston is finished with Watson? Listen, the problem in Houston, Nick, is O'Brien. That's the problem. There's nothing wrong with Deshaun Watson. Nothing. They just took his number 1 receiver away from him. What do you expect the guy to do? He's doing as much as he can. If you watch that game, you go back and watch the game film, you'll see that there was multiple drops in that game by both Will Fuller and Kenny Stills. Perfect passes from Deshaun Watson just didn't work. They have a Bill O'Brien problem. Okay, in Houston, not a Deshaun Watson problem. So I am all out. I am not out on Deshaun Watson at all. Eagles and Giants bounce back out. I like that. Andre, I think I'm with you right now. I know it's early, but looking at the game and looking at the prospects of who's going to play and who's not, I know the Cowboys suffer some injuries, but listen, Atlanta's going to be a tough test for Dallas. If Dallas can't get that line right, they can still rush the passer in Atlanta. I can tell you that much. They can still run. They still have Dan Quinn, who's a defensive-minded coach. They may not be that talented, but I'll tell you what, they can still get after it when they need to. Giants and Eagles bounce back. The Eagles are going to have a very tough time, Andre. They are. They need to bounce back. That's going to be a tough game against the Rams. It really is. It's going to be a lot of things need to change. They do. And the Giants, I think they'll bounce back as well. Listen, for all the people who thought maybe Big Ben was done. Obviously, I don't think he was. He's just getting started, right? Just getting started. But listen, at the end of the day, we look forward to week 2. We don't want to overreact. I know everybody called it Overreaction Monday, but I think there was a lot of valid points made by everybody. And we made a lot of valid points yesterday, made a lot of valid points today. What I want to do tomorrow on Jigsaw's Judgment is I want to talk a little Sixers. I know this is football week, but what I plan to do is Mondays and Tuesdays, obviously to me is going to be football days. Wednesday, I want to do either whether it be baseball or basketball. Look at obviously the coaching search of the Sixers. Look at some NBA. Look at Major League Baseball. The Phillies are talking some injuries. We look at that, and then Thursday we transition right back to football, and we transition football Friday as well. So I definitely want to do that. Every year is a game that we dominate, draws us to the end, and think we're going to win the chip. It's usually week 2 or 4. That is a good point. Listen, that is a good point, and you're right. There's so many different games that we can look through, over the last couple of years where, number 1, we should have won, or number 2, that we just came up short when, or number 2, when we came up top when we should have lost. You see Billy Donovan going to Philly or Chicago. That's what I want to talk about tomorrow, Trevor. Let's save the Sixers talk for tomorrow. We're going to talk some Sixers coaching search tomorrow because I think it's interesting how it's been very very quiet. It's been very quiet on the Sixers front. I think there's some stuff going on behind the scenes when we talk about Elton Brand, too. I think there's going to be some structure changes within the organization. I think it just hasn't been announced yet. So we're going to see what happens. I think that's why we haven't seen anything when in regards to major coach movement. I think maybe I'm going to tease this a little bit. I think maybe Tyronn Lue was the guy that Elton Brand wanted. I think that's why that report came out, that all of a sudden that he was going to be the next coach. And then all of a sudden that got killed because I think management stepped in and said, whoa, we don't want Tyronn Lue. And I think everything just stopped right there. So I think there's some struggle going on within that hierarchy within the Sixers organization. So again, it will be interesting to say. So yes, Trevor, let's table that for tomorrow's show. We will label that NBA talk. We will get that major see. Hopefully Andre, this is why we have Andre here. Andre, major Sixers changes. Hopefully I could break it before Shefty. Well, listen, it doesn't matter, Andre, because Shefty blocked me on Twitter, so I can't read anything of Adam Schefter at all. He's basically blocked Jigsaw, so I don't even know why. I even do not Adam Schefter, but I can't talk to him on Twitter, so it's all good. So Andre, yeah, listen, Molly just dropped Woes bomb, right? Molly, I like that. We're gonna call that the A bomb. Let's call it the A bomb. So we're going to make Andre, he's going to be our Sixers guy. Okay, so when we go live, Jigsaw's Judgment, we're going to get Andre is going to be the Sixers guy here on Jigsaw's Judgment for the Heat Ratio. So we're going to call this the A-Bomb. So hopefully A-Bomb or Andre could drop an A-Bomb for us tomorrow or within the rest of the week when we talk about the 76ers coaches. But anyway, listen, fellas and ladies, I'm sorry, Molly. My apologies, but let's get it out today, man. Let's get everything going. Everybody have a wonderful day. I got to run 5 minutes, so I do my next show. So again, please, Woes and Chef, I'm all good with both still. Yes, listen, A-Bomb, get ready for the A-Bomb tomorrow. Andre, I'm counting on you, brother. I am counting on you. So everybody, thanks for tuning in again. Remember, tonight, live Heat Ratio Sports number 127. And again, let's get the comments going tonight. We will be live everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Sportscaster, everything. So as much people can tune in, the better. Let's get the conversation going. We're going to break down week 1. We're going to go over the entire NFL, who produced, who didn't produce. We're going to talk a little Phillies, talk a little MLB, talk a little NBA, but lot of NFL talk, obviously, because that's exactly where we're at right now. So everybody stay safe and stay healthy, and I hope to see everybody tonight at 9:15.